Anchorage, Alaska in 1971, a city on the edge of the world, wild, untamed, beautiful. A frontier town where dreams were chased and fortunes were sought. But beneath the veneer of progress and promise, a darkness lurked. The streets held secrets whispered on the wind, secrets of lives lost and justice denied. Beth van Zanten, a young woman brimming with life, her future stretched before her like the Alaskan sky. She had come to Anchorage seeking adventure, eager to embrace all that life had to offer. Beth was a beloved daughter, a cherished friend, but fate, it seemed, had other plans. It was a Thursday, a day like any other, when Beth van Zanten vanished. She was last seen in downtown Anchorage, her bright smile a flicker of warmth against the backdrop of the city's bustling streets. But then, silence. Beth was gone. Her family, accustomed to her regular calls and visits, felt the first prickle of worry. Word of Beth's disappearance spread through Anchorage like wildfire. The city, once a symbol of hope and opportunity, now held its breath, united in fear and uncertainty. The police, faced with a baffling case, began their investigation. Search parties scoured the city, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Days turned into weeks, each one an agonizing reminder of Beth's absence. Rumors, like tendrils of smoke, began to curl through the streets of Anchorage. Theories, some plausible, others bordering on the outlandish, were exchanged in hushed tones. The police, tight-lipped and focused, pursued every lead, their investigation a tangled web of possibilities. They interviewed family, friends, acquaintances, their questions probing for any scrap of information. But the mystery deepened, the puzzle pieces refusing to fit. As weeks bled into months, the initial frenzy of the investigation waned, but the hope, though flickering, refused to be extinguished. Beth's family, their grief a constant companion, clung to the belief that she was still out there, somewhere, waiting to be found. The city of Anchorage, though scarred by the tragedy, slowly began to heal. The case, though grown cold, remained open, a testament to the enduring power of hope and the unwavering pursuit of justice. Spring arrived in Anchorage, but it brought no warmth to the hearts of those who mourned Beth van Zanten. Then, on a day much like the one she disappeared, a chilling discovery shattered the uneasy peace. A group of children stumbled upon a body. The news spread through Anchorage like a virus, infecting every corner of the city with dread. Could this be Beth? Had she finally been found only to be returned in the cruel embrace of death? The crime scene, a desolate stretch of tundra on the outskirts of the city, was a grim tableau. Forensic investigators, their faces obscured by masks, moved with practiced efficiency. The body, carefully extracted from its icy tomb, was transported to the morgue. The wait for confirmation was agonizing, each tick of the clock an eternity for Beth's loved ones. Hope, though fragile, still flickered, fueled by the desperate prayer that this was not their beloved Beth. The autopsy report, when it arrived, was a litany of horrors, confirming everyone's worst fears. The body found on the tundra was indeed that of Beth van Zanten. She had been strangled her lifeless eyes staring vacantly at the cold, unforgiving sky. The news of Beth's murder sent shockwaves through Anchorage. The city, once united in hope, was now fractured by fear and grief. Fear, like a creeping frost, settled over Anchorage. Parents no longer allowed their children to play outside after dark. The city, once a symbol of frontier spirit and camaraderie, was now a place of suspicion and unease. The question now was, could they find justice for Beth and reclaim their sense of security? The investigation into Beth van Zanten's chilling murder continued under a cloud of fear and suspicion. In the midst of despair, a sinister figure emerged as a potential suspect. Robert Hansen, a seemingly ordinary baker with a dark secret. His facade as a family man and business owner in Anchorage masked a predatory instinct that had eluded capture for years. Beth's murder presented a puzzle that seemed to fit the modus operandi of a man like Hansen. The idea that a predator walked among them, disguised in the banality of daily life, was a wake-up call to the community. Robert Hansen, affectionately known as the Butcher Baker, was a paradox wrapped in an enigma. Hansen's arrest in the early 1980s for a series of kidnappings and murders opened the floodgates to a horrifying possibility. Could he also be linked to Beth's tragic fate? Investigators scrambled to piece together Hansen's timeline, looking for overlaps with Beth's last known movements. Evidence began to mount, albeit circumstantially. However, direct evidence linking him to her remained elusive. The quest to link Hansen to Beth's murder was a labyrinth of dead ends and what-ifs. Anchorage police, alongside FBI profilers, worked tirelessly, combing through Hansen's confiscated possessions for any clue that could connect him to Beth. Yet the evidence remained frustratingly indirect. Interviews with Hansen proved equally perplexing. The lack of resolution was a heavy chain that bound the community. The weight of the unknown, a constant presence in their lives. Section 4. The Cold Case Conundrum, Table of Contents, Part 5, Act 4, about 4 sections. 1. The Maze of the Mind. 2. The Limits of Proof. 3. The Weight of Silence. And 4. The Cold Case Conundrum. The investigation into Beth van Zanten's murder was proving to be as much a psychological puzzle as a forensic one. The prime suspect, Robert Hansen, remained an enigma, a man whose mind was as impenetrable as the Alaskan wilderness where Beth's body had been found. The detectives assigned to the case found themselves locked in a battle of wits with a cunning adversary, his silence a weapon as potent as any blade. Hansen, a skilled hunter, knew the terrain of the human psyche as well as he knew the vast expanse of the Alaskan wilderness. He understood the investigators' need for a confession, for that one piece of evidence that would bring a sense of closure, a sense of justice served. Yet he held that power close, refusing to relinquish control, his silence a constant source of frustration and torment for those seeking answers. The more the investigators tried to penetrate the wall of Hansen's psyche, the more elusive he became. He was a master manipulator, using his knowledge of the legal system and his understanding of human behavior to his advantage. He toyed with the investigators, offering glimpses into his dark world, only to retreat further into the shadows, leaving them grasping at smoke and mirrors. The psychological toll on the investigators was immense. The case had become deeply personal, each dead end, each unanswered question, a blow that chipped away at their resolve. They were haunted by the image of Beth van Zanten, her life cut tragically short, her killer still at large. The weight of their responsibility pressed down on them, a constant reminder of the delicate balance between justice and the frustrating limitations of the law. The investigation into Beth van Zanten's murder highlighted the chasm between suspicion and concrete proof. All signs pointed towards Robert Hansen, but the evidence was circumstantial. Without a confession, the district attorney's office was hesitant to bring charges. The legal system demanded more than unsettling coincidences. Investigators, convinced of Hansen's guilt, were trapped in a bureaucratic quagmire. The evidence gathered was not enough to guarantee a conviction. Every lead circled back to Hansen, but none provided a definitive connection. The frustration within the police department was palpable. They knew Hansen was responsible, but gut feelings weren't admissible in court. The legal system, designed to protect the innocent, could shield the guilty. Sometimes even when you know the who, proving it is a different battle. Proceeding with charges for other crimes was a strategic decision. It was a way to get Hansen off the streets while building the case for Beth's murder. A small victory, but a victory nonetheless. For Beth's family and friends, it was a glimmer of hope. In the absence of a confession, silence hung heavy over the investigation, a suffocating blanket that threatened to extinguish the remaining embers of hope. The Alaskan wilderness, where Beth van Zanten had met her tragic end, seemed to hold its breath, guarding its secrets jealously. The investigators, their faces etched with frustration and weariness, were left to grapple with the weight of unanswered questions, their pursuit of justice hampered by a wall of silence. Robert Hansen, safely ensconced behind bars, remained a cipher, his true motives as elusive as ever. He had taken his secrets to prison with him, leaving a community grappling with the knowledge that the man who had terrorized their city might never be held accountable for all of his crimes. The families of his victims, including Beth's, were left with a profound sense of injustice, their grief compounded by the lack of closure. The silence extended beyond Hansen. There were whispers in the community, rumors of others who might have known about Hansen's activities, who might have had their suspicions but chose to remain silent. Fear, it seemed, had a way of silencing even the most well-intentioned. The investigators, though frustrated, understood the complexities of human nature, the instinct to protect oneself, even if it meant protecting a monster. The weight of that silence permeated every aspect of the investigation. It hung heavy in the air, a constant reminder of the fragility of truth, the ease with which it could be buried beneath layers of fear and indifference. It served as a stark reminder that sometimes the most deafening sound is the sound of nothing at all. Years turned into decades, and the case of Beth van Zanten's murder transitioned into the realm of cold cases. The files, thick with reports and forensic analysis, gathered dust on a shelf in the Anchorage Police Department. The burning question lingered. What really happened on that cold, fateful day? Every now and then, a new detective would pull the files, hoping to find a clue, but the result was invariably the same: frustration and disappointment. Advancements in forensic technology offered the possibility of uncovering new evidence. The case of Beth van Zanten served as a reminder that some mysteries refuse to be solved. Yet, the pursuit of justice is a flame that refuses to be extinguished. While the shadow of Robert Hansen loomed large over Beth van Zanten's case, investigators couldn't ignore the lingering doubts. Hansen, already serving multiple life sentences, had never confessed to Beth's murder. Could it be that Anchorage, in its haste to find a monster, had mistakenly pinned Beth's murder on the most convenient boogeyman? The investigators, haunted by the possibility of a terrible mistake, revisited the initial stages of the investigation. They scrutinized witness statements, searching for inconsistencies, for details that might have been overlooked. The unsolved murder of Beth van Zanten left an indelible mark on Anchorage, a chilling reminder that darkness could touch the lives of the innocent. The city, once a beacon of hope, had to confront the reality that some crimes defied explanation. For Beth's family, the pain was amplified by the lack of closure. Each holiday season without her was a stark reminder of the life stolen. They lived with the knowledge that her killer might still walk among them. The fear gradually subsided, replaced by a dull ache of resignation. The memory of Beth van Zanten remained, a ghost story whispered on the wind. The passage of time, while a relentless force, did little to diminish the weight of the unanswered questions surrounding Beth van Zanten's murder. Did Robert Hansen, the butcher-baker, claim another victim, his dark secret buried with him in the cold Alaskan ground? Or did another predator, his identity shrouded in mystery, stalk the streets of Anchorage, his crime forever hidden in the shadows? The lack of definitive answers gnawed at the edges of certainty, leaving a void that speculation and theories rushed to fill. Was Beth in the wrong place at the wrong time, a random victim of a senseless act of violence? Or was her murder a calculated crime, the result of a personal grudge, a secret known only to her killer? The police, bound by the constraints of evidence and legal procedure, could only follow the paths illuminated by the facts, however scant or inconclusive. Theories, while intriguing, could not replace concrete proof. And so the questions lingered, each one a testament to the elusiveness of truth, the limitations of human understanding. The unsolved nature of Beth's case served as a stark reminder that some mysteries, despite our best efforts, might never be fully unraveled. The answers, if they existed at all, lay buried beneath layers of time, speculation, and the fading memories of those who might have held the key to unlocking the truth. The case of Beth van Zanten, though tragic, underscores the importance of cold case units within law enforcement agencies. These dedicated teams, often working with limited resources and facing the daunting challenge of time, provide a vital lifeline of hope for the families and friends of those whose cases remain unresolved. Cold case investigators are a unique breed, driven by a relentless pursuit of justice, a belief that even the coldest of cases can be cracked with patience, persistence, and a touch of luck. They are meticulous detectives, piecing together fragments of evidence, chasing down leads that have long gone cold, and interviewing witnesses whose memories may have faded, but whose desire for closure remains as strong as ever. Advancements in forensic technology, particularly in the field of DNA analysis, have revolutionized cold case work, providing investigators with powerful new tools to identify suspects and re-examine old evidence with fresh eyes. Cases that were once considered unsolvable are now being reopened, breathing new life into investigations that had seemingly reached a dead end. The work of cold case units is not just about solving crimes. It's about providing answers, offering closure, and ensuring that even in death, victims are not forgotten. Each case solved, each perpetrator brought to justice, is a testament to the enduring power of hope. the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of times, truth has a way of emerging from the shadows. Beth van Zanten's story, though forever linked to tragedy, should not be defined by it. She was a vibrant young woman, full of life, with a bright future ahead of her. She was a beloved daughter, a cherished friend, a ray of sunshine in the lives of those who knew her. While the circumstances of her death remain a mystery, her life and the impact she had on those around her should be remembered. Let us honour her memory by embracing the same zest for life, the same kindness and compassion that she embodied. The unsolved murder of Beth van Zanten serves as a reminder that life is precious and that we must cherish every moment. It also reminds us of the importance of community, of looking out for one another, and of never giving up hope, even in the face of unimaginable tragedy. In the end, perhaps the most fitting tribute we can offer to Beth van Zanten is to live our lives to the fullest, to embrace the beauty and wonder of the world around us, and to never forget the fragility of life and the enduring power of the human spirit.